What's up, YouTube? So, again, this is gonna be, and I still don't know what to call it, cause I'm pretty sure this is not an analysis. If my definition of analysis is correct, which is, well, I think of it as a literary analysis where you, well, yeah, I guess it could be, cause I guess I am answering some questions about the book, but so maybe it is literary analysis. Maybe just not literature related, cause this is of course not fiction expository. So, well, we can get into the book talk now. Book talk. Hey, that's what it could be. It could just be a book talk. So, on task, how our brain gets things done. Now, I'm going to start by just talking about their argument, or not the argument, but the question that they ask, which is what lies in the gap between knowledge and action? Because before we do things, we have to have knowledge about it, and then there's action. So, something you want to do, and then action. Now he talks about what happens between that. That's the question we're asking. So what happens between me wanting to go and eat some food and me actually eating food? So what happens in my brain to make me get things done, like in the title here? So basically, and it's called the cognitive control system. That's the whole part of the brain that gets things done. And I'm pretty much just relaying information here because, well, I'm pretty much, if you know the term, I'm pretty much a layman in this field. So while I have read numerous books on cognition, I'm not like I haven't taken a class on it. This is just something that I really enjoy reading. So maybe once I get more knowledge on it, I can give you more of a, you know, do more of a real analysis. That's what I'm trying to say. So of course, the history part of the book, because there's, like what I read, there's a lot of history behind it, and which I like. Again, like just like learning about cognitive abilities. I like learning about history too. So the history, or yes, the history of when we got the ability, when we evolved to get things done. The scholars suggest that from the Paleolithic into, yeah, honestly I forgot the other part, but the Paleolithic. So that's around. Well, I can give you a time period. So I know they mentioned 50,000 to 80,000 years ago. That's when we got it. And the Paleolithic and the other time period it started with the S, if I remember correctly. But that's when we got the ability, and the I can't say study, but the observation they showed, the facts they presented, 'cause we don't know if it was a fact, is that there was I'm pretty sure it was a Neanderthalis, or it was a Homo something, Homo Homo something, and Homo adrenalidalis something. Hey, I think I might have got it right. Homo adrenalidalis, and basically that creature, it had a stone-like thing in its hand, a stone-like hammer, I should say, and or a stone-like rock. Well, just a rock in general, and a stone-like a stone-like knife in its hand. And with that, it was hitting a wall to try and get some things to fall off of the wall. And from that suggestion, I don't even know how they found it. They said that the pieces of rock on the ground were still there after, 80,000 years later. So, we don't know how true that is. They say it was in pristine condition. you know, 80,000 years later, that the rocks that was broken from the Homo adrenadalis is in pristine condition. So I don't know how. We don't know. Well, personally, I don't know if I could believe that all the way, just because it kind of feels like a made up story. Like, how do we know that they did it exactly there at the exact time period, and we have the exact rocks. So I don't know. Maybe I didn't read it well enough. Maybe I just didn't comprehend it enough. But that's when we got the cognitive control system. And of course it evolved later down the line. That was just like the start of it. Like it keep going down the line. So next is the well, we could just talk about what happens in the brain now. So first of all, there's a hierarchy system that shows what has to be done first, and that is where our goals, in a sense, are stored, but not goals in like. And I think I mentioned this before in another book talk, but not goals in the sense of. Well, yeah, I think all type of goals. Like for someone who's, for me, or not for me, but like for someone else, if they have a goal to, for instance, if they want to walk somewhere, so they have a goal, like they say, okay, today I'm gonna walk 10 miles, and then, but someone else has a goal. So there's different types of goals. There's long-term goals and short-term goals. So short-term goals are short-term, and by short-term, I don't just mean like 2 weeks type of goal. I mean like right now type of goal. Like I'm gonna go make a peanut butter jelly type of goal. So and and the oh yeah, so the hierarchy system. And the hierarchy system, well, just know it's there. Just know we process it like based on the importance of it and based on how long it will take. So if it's longer and even if it's important, like we might not always want to achieve that goal. That depends on how strong you are mentally. Again, kind of like it kind of has to do with the brain, but not necessarily. Well, I'm not sure. Actually, I'll read into do mindsets affect the brain? That's a really good topic, cause that's something I've been wanting to know. Like, is my brain different from someone else's just because I think differently? And honestly, I don't know, cause I could think of answers for both. I could think of answers for yes, it is, and no, it's not. Okay, so is next thing they talked about is inhibitory control, which is stopping, just stopping from doing something. So if you wanted to reach for something, or you want to brake a car, well, no, I don't think pressing the brakes on the car counts as stopping because you're moving still. But if you wanted to stop doing something, for instance, that part of your brain will, or not that part of your brain, that will take the prefrontal cortex, and the cortex, well, mainly yes, the prefrontal cortex is basically the part of our brain that gets things done. So you know, there now you know the same part of the brain that evolved throughout human years, like for instance with the neocortex, which has evolved from the early Homo sapiens and the early Homo erectus and the early Homo neanderthalis, and that allows us to socially communicate with one another because that's where language is stored. Which also, I have I read that in another book too. So yeah, there's basically two. Oh, another thing. This is another thing that's pretty important about memory, which is if you know things are stored in our memory and they're later retrieved. So like for instance, if there's a situation you've been in, like if there was a fight you've been in, for example, and you you can't say we forget about, well, in a sense we do forget about it because we don't think about it regularly, but you can retrieve that memory. So yeah, you could say, because how I think it is, I would lost something and then it's in lost and found, and then I later go back and get it. So you could say we lose our memories, and or we just forget things, but we retrieve the memories, and that allows us to just attain the memories again. And the two brain systems that is correlated with that, or not the two brain systems, basically the prefrontal cortex again, and the temporal lobes. So this is another thing but it's correlated with the left side of the brain, and the medial temporal lobes. So the medial prefrontal cortex, or the left, and the left ventrolateral prefrontal cortex, and yeah, and the temporal lobes. So that's the part of the brain that gets things done, basically. The prefrontal cortex, which is that's a very kind of vague place to say, but if you want to know where the prefrontal cortex is, it's right in this area, right in this area, because right here, this will be represented as the brain stem, which is where connected to the hippocampus, the HPA, the hippocampus pituitary adrenal, which that's connected to our state of being, as I mentioned in the past video. And if I could just briefly sum that up here, our state of being is basically how pleasant we are feeling or how unpleasant we are feeling. So, like when people say state of being, they mean like, are you feeling happy or are you feeling sad and down? So, so the brainstem is correlated with that, and the brainstem is also correlated with our consciousness. So, so the brainstem is pretty much the core link to consciousness, which again, consciousness is our ability to sensate and perceive outside information. Well, sensate our inside information, which is, have feelings and perceive those feelings, because like it's fine to feel a feeling. Like if you were to feel sad, okay, but how would you perceive it? Like what made you sad? So it's kind of like one can't work without another. But the prefrontal cortex and the temporal lobes are both connected in basically getting things done. So, on task. It was a pretty good read. So what's the meaning? What's the meaning behind this? Honestly, usually I correlate with my meanings with mindset, because that's pretty much, in my opinion, the only thing that we can change at the moment. Because like you may not be able to change the situation, but you can change your mindset about the situation. And I have a book on that I actually just read yesterday, and I'll definitely post that. Well, man, I read 4 books, and I got 4 books to make videos on. Well, this is just one. Oh, the meaning behind it. Sorry. The meaning behind this is, honestly, I don't think that there's a significant benefit of having this book or reading this book just as a single piece of bit of information, because while I haven't just thought about this until now, but I'm pretty much doing a syntopical read on the topic of neuroscience. So this book is kind of just like a piece of the puzzle for me. And so it may not be beneficial to, like, if someone were just to pick up this book and read it, it might not be beneficial to them, but I know that this book has a meaning for me, and the meaning is just more information and more insight on what my brain does. Because again, like with the mindset related, I know that now, like, I see things totally differently now because of these neuroscience books I've been reading. Because now I just know that everything's happening in the brain. And like, for instance, I got mad the other day, and I was like, wow, my amygdala must be firing right now. And I could just laugh at that, because it's just funny to me to know that, like, everything, all it is just neurotransmitters being created in my brain. And it's not, I don't have to take things too seriously. So this is kind of just, again, like a change of perception. That's pretty much what these books are, and a change of perception in a good way, not in a bad way. So this was On Task by David Badry.